This is the second edition of the Improper Fraction to Mix number video. I'm about to catch 3 halves of Oreos into my mouth for my intro here. Let's see if I can do this successfully. And I'm kind of bored. All right, here we go. This is talent right here too. I got 3 halves right here. 1 half. Let's get a redo on that. 2 halves, or 1 whole, and 3 halves. Let's get it.
Here we go.
Prepare to have your mind blown. We've been talking about fractions now since the beginning of this week. And before we had all of this quarantine madness, we were actually pretty deep into fractions. One of the things that we never got quite into was relating fractions and division. Believe it or not, they are related. And I'm going to show you how. Right now, you can look at this as 13/4. How in the world does that relate to division? Well, think about it. Anytime you group something together, you're doing division. We know we're going to divide by 4. Something that we learned earlier this year is that when we put things in groups, that's called division. We're dividing it. So in this case, every time we get a group of 4, it's going to make 1 whole. But if we want to change it into a division problem, we can also make it look like this: 13 divided by 4. Either way, we're saying that. Every time I get a group of 4, it's going to make a whole. So let's see how many wholes we can pull out of this. Well, 4 goes into 13 3 times. I know that 4 times 3 equals 12. And that's going to leave me with 1. I'm going to have a remainder of 1. And let's not worry about what the remainder means right this second. Let's check and make sure this is right. All right, so it totally matches up with division. I was able to divide and put 4 into each whole. So I was able to come up with 1 whole, 2 wholes, 3 wholes. And then I have a remainder of 1. What would that 1 stand for as a fraction? Think about it. What did we split our oranges up into? Got it? Fourths is exactly right. We got 1/4 of an orange here. So our final answer would be, if we wanted to turn it to a mixed number, 3, and that remainder stands for 1/4. Division will always work. So let's do another example. Being that we just got done with oranges, that's pretty healthy. We're going to have some dessert now. We're talking about one of the best desserts of all time, cheesecake. What I've done is I've cut these into halves. So that means that we're going to have a bottom number of 2 for our denominator. And I'm going to take that away now. 2 is our denominator because we've cut them into halves. Let's see how many halves we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So there were 17 total. And I know I didn't put a dot on one of them. We have 17 halves, so we need to put 17 as our numerator. Oh yeah, we looking good now. We got 17 halves. What we want to do now is we want to use division to figure out how many wholes can I get if I group them into 2s, because every time I have 2 halves, it makes a whole. So why wouldn't we group them into 2s? Let's do that. We're going to divide 17 by 2. Because we're grouping everything in 2s to make wholes. So we have to start and ask ourselves, how many times does 2 go into 1? Well, it goes in 0 times. 2 times 0 equals 0. So once we subtract that, we're going to end up with the same number we started with, 17. How many times does 2 go into 17? Well, it goes in 8 times. That means that 2 times 8 equals 16, so we can subtract 16 from 17. There's nothing to bring down, so we end up getting a remainder of 1. Now we need to see if this matches. All right, so I would say we did a pretty good job. We have 1 whole, 2 wholes, 3. Whoa, that's a bad 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 holes. And then we have this little guy off to the side. This is our remainder. So we end up having 8 holes. In this group right here, we have 8 holes. And we have a remainder of 1. What does that remainder mean in this case? Do you guys remember back from the last problem? If we put it in fraction form, it's going to mean 1/2. Our final answer ends up being 8 1/2. We had 8 holes and we had 1/2 left over. So when we combine them together, it ends up being 8 1/2. What's really cool is it ends up matching our division problem. They're totally connected. Who would have ever thought that fractions and division would be partners in crime? All right, y'all, I need you to be brave because we're moving away from pictures. Ladies and gentlemen, we have officially moved away from the picture. Let's see if this is doable. I know that I have 17 fifth size pieces. Remember, I'm doing 17 divided by 5. The reason I'm dividing by 5 is every time I group something up into 5, I make a hole. I want to see how many holes can I pull out of 17. I'm going to set it up the way we have been doing it all year. So we have 17 divided by 5. Now let's really think about what this means. We have a 3 on the top. We were dividing to figure out how many holes we had. If we're writing this as a mixed number, we were able to find 3 holes. And what does this 2 mean? I know that 2 is my remainder because there was nothing here to bring down. But what does that 2 mean? It means that we had 2 fifths left over. We didn't have enough fifths to make another whole. So the remainder in this case means our fraction. This is the last problem. And if you can get this one, you can get any of them right in 4th grade. This is a really big number. We have a huge number as our numerator, 78 eighths. Think about that, man. If you had a pizza, right, and it was cut into 8 slices per box, you have 78 slices. So you have to figure out how many holes can you get? How many whole boxes of pizza can you get? And what are you left over with? Let's turn this into a division problem. The 78 eighths is the same thing as 78 divided by 8. Remember that fractions and division are related. Let's go over here to this division problem and let's solve it. Let's do our quick math. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have 9 holes with the remainder of 6. We're going to end up with 9 holes and 6 eighths. Mathematicians, y'all know how to do it now. I'm very proud of you guys for sticking with it, persevering, and you now know how to make improper fractions into mixed numbers. Before you go, make sure you smash that like button and hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.